Another day, another episode of Dentapreneurs. Welcome everybody to this show. And this is a show where we bring authors, speakers, leaders, change makers, people who can influence you and inspire you to make positive differences in your life. And today we have none other than Mr. Angus Pryor. Right?
Thanks, Kinnar.
Angus, it's a pleasure to have you on this show.
Thank you.
So I'm going to cut to the chase and I'm going to tell you how this is a little bit of a different interview I'm hosting today, which is both Angus and I are going to be contributing to this interview. And the way we have organized this, it's a little bit of a sneaky way, but what we've done today is that we've each prepared 6 questions. And we're going to each ask, we don't know what these questions are. So that's, there's an element of surprise in there. There's an element of where we need to come up with what we think, what we believe in, and we're just going to add value to each other's questions. So in this episode, the way it's going to run is that I will be asking Angus a question. He's got not more than 3 minutes to answer. So it's kind of a time constraint on there. So it puts a little bit of pressure on you, Angus.
No problem.
Are you ready for that?
I'm definitely.
Right. And likewise, he's going to ask me a questions and I'm going to take 3 minutes to answer that question. So we're going to keep it on the roll, on the flow. And once again, guys, I hope that you learn something from this. I hope this inspires you to make some positive changes and decisions in your life. So once again, welcome to this next episode of Dentapreneurs TV. And Angus, are you ready to roll?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, Angus, now my first question to you, and allow me to start with this. I believe, and I know for a fact, as according to statistics, there's about 1 million people in the world who wake up in the morning and cannot see the sunrise.
Really?
What I mean by that is they don't actually wake up in the morning, right?
Okay.
Right? So they die. There's 1 million people who don't wake up in the morning. And so I believe that the first thing we should all do when we wake up in the morning is just like be grateful that at least we've lived to live another day, right? And then the next thing is we need to plan into how we're going to seize this day. So anyone who prepares themselves in the morning for the day, I really have a high regard, high respect for that. And most leaders do that. And I know for a fact that you do that as well.
I do.
Right? So my first question to you today is that what is your morning routine?
It's an interesting question, Kinnar, because if I didn't have one, then trying to stretch it out to 3 minutes would be very difficult. But
Yes.
the fact is I do have quite an elaborate morning routine.
Okay.
And before I get into the detail, I'd say that it has literally been life-changing for me.
Sure.
I've been in business for about 6 years, and as we know in business, you can take some kicks, and it's really the morning routine came out of that as a way of offsetting, what can be sometimes a difficult environment, having something more positive. So with that said, this is pretty much how it goes. I do, before I get out of bed, I am thinking, what am I grateful for? I will mentally rehearse the day fairly quickly. I mean, you're in a sort of a drowsy state, and I think, oh, that's going to go well, and that's going to go well, etc., etc. Sometimes I'll mentally go through some thanks. I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. And then when I step out of the bed and my 2 feet go on the floor, I say mentally, thank you. Like, thank you for the day. I then go to the loo and go and weigh. I weigh in every day. And then apart from boiling the kettle and having a cup of tea, I do 2 things. One is I get my phone out and I plank for 2 minutes while I look at my bank accounts.
Yes.
Every day. So every day I look at my bank accounts. Every day I'm doing that while I'm planking. Do that for 2 minutes. And then a book that really has changed my life called Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. There's 6 steps in there. And so it starts with some gratitude. And the beauty of the 6 steps is you can do 1 minute on each, 2 minutes on each, 3 minutes. For me, it's usually 3. Okay. So I do 3 minutes gratitude, 3 minutes of affirmations. I'll go and stand in front of the mirror. I just, where my microphone is, I even do this and stand and look at the mirror and do that. Then come back and do 3 minutes of visualization of the day, and imagine each part of the day going well. The next part is writing down what am I grateful for, what am I proud of, and what am I committed to. The last 3 minutes is reading a book, some kind of inspirational book or business book. And then that's the last 3 minutes of that. And then I usually go and do exercise. Now it's meant to be only 3 minutes, Fact of the matter is I do a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I'm in training for a half marathon at the moment.
Fantastic.
So I'm running 6 times a week.
Wow.
But that's the morning routine, and I would say that's changed my life.
That's excellent. So you prepare yourself first thing in the morning for the day.
Yep, definitely.
Love it, love it. Anyway, guys, I hope you find some value for this. We're going to keep rolling like this. Now, Angus, your turn to ask the question, and we go carry on like that.
Now, Kinnar, I'm sorry to go from such a positive
Yes.
to such a negative, but I am going to go to a negative.
Sure.
Because I've already alluded to the fact that in business, I mean, let's call it what it is. There are times when you can take a serious kicking. There are times when things don't seem to go your way. And I think until people have owned a business, they don't realise that. So I want you to take us, because what I don't want for this is for people to go, oh, well, everything's perfect in Angus and Kinnar's life.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So take us to the worst moment of your career. What's a particular moment? What was happening? Why was it so bad? How did you get through it? But I want you to really stick with, with the worst part. What was it that was so bad?
Toughest moment creates toughest people.
Yeah.
And I am in no way saying that I'm tough, right? I don't even know what level I'm at. But reflecting back, if I were to say, and going back, this is going probably about 10 years ago. And I think it was the toughest moment was more of a toughest choice, that I realized that, there was a point in time where I had to just take a moment, step away, and put my ego aside. My ego was what was killing me. My ego was making me not progress in life. And so it was a choice I had to make in that. I don't know whether you want to call that the toughest moment, but if I were to reflect back, I think just putting the ego aside and realizing, why am I not living the life I've always dreamt about?
So what was hard though?
The decisions I was making, the choices I was making every day. It's simple as that. I believe that as we design our life, it's dictated on the decisions we make, the choices we make. So the decisions and choices I was making at that time was not getting me to live a fulfilled life. And to be honest, that was my toughest moment in life, that it was not a personal thing, or it was not a business thing. It was more about just putting my ego aside and really asking myself, is this what you want in life? And why are you not getting it? And so that allowed me to ask better questions to myself. So what is it that I want? So I sat down for the first time in my life, right? And I planned myself. What is it personally I want? What is it business? What do I want in business? How do I want to grow? What do I want to achieve in life? How do I want to live my life? Because back in the day, I used to work 5 days as a dentist. I was frustrated. I was tired. I was burnt. I was exhausted, right? And it's not the life I dreamt about. Like, we all graduated from dentists and thinking that it's a wonderful profession to be in. But it's a profession where we get burnt out. So the toughest moment in my life is actually the decision to let my ego go away and to self-reflect, and to self-introspect in what is the choices and decisions I want to make in my life to design a life I want to lead. And that is the toughest moment, because as soon as I did that, then every other obstacles that came on the way just became a fuel to my success. That's the way I thought. I changed my pattern of thought, right? So I guess that's my answer, the quickest answer I can give you, and I hope that makes some value in that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, Angus, your turn. Next question, right? So I've prepared my questions here. Now, we all know, and I just say that it is first the thoughts you require to create, actions, and it is the collection of actions that make your habits, and eventually the habits shape your character leads to your destiny. So, but there's certain actions we all do in life, right? Which over and over again, which may create good or bad habits, right? So we all have some good and bad, and we've all gone through phases that we have had some great habits and then some really bad habits in life. But what I want to ask you this, Angus, is that what habit did you actually have to remove from your life in order to become more successful in what you do?
It would be around health, no question.
Okay.
Look, I'm north of 50 now. I'm 52, Kinnar. I know it's hard to believe with a face this young.
Some nice lotion in there, I guess.
That's right. You taught me everything I know. No, around health for sure. And so I think, in my 30s, like, to be really honest, I've always carried a bit of weight. I mean, in BMI terms, body mass index, I was always kind of certainly on the upper end of normal and maybe a bit overweight. But
Yeah.
I've always been super active, and so I just could eat what I wanted. And then I can tell you, as you get older, you can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but I'll end up being 150 kilos.
Right.
And so I would say the habit was what I'll call unthinking eating.
Okay.
Sort of like emotional eating,
Yeah.
or just not even thinking about it, just, bang, bang, bang in front of the TV or whatever. And I realized that for me, particularly since I started in business, that you've got to be on your A game all the time.
Yeah.
And, I've got a team. I can't afford to let them see me being in a sort of a dark place or an unhappy place. And so the habit was around eating and being super careful
Yeah.
about my weight. I know, look, I'm no saint. I mean, I pretty much cut sugar out of my life. I don't drink much alcohol. I mean, I enjoy a bit of sugar. I enjoy a bit of alcohol, but I don't do a lot of either. And I'd say that's probably the one thing. I've had to be 100 times more intentional about my eating now for the result that it generates than, just kind of doing what I did in my 20s or 30s where you didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I love the way you say that you got to bring your A game to what you do in life, right? Either in personal or professional, and for you to get to that stage, having a good habit of eating and basically health, nutrition, and all that is important. And this is something you were away. This is a habit you didn't have. And okay, so you have to remove the bad habit of the binge eating or the emotional eating.
Yeah, just sort of unthinking. You
love
kind
it.
of.
Love it.
I mean, I assume most of us enjoy food.
Yeah.
But you just kind of keep eating because of the taste, and then, the risk is you get this sort of scarcity mindset, or I mightn't ever get to have this again. You know, so now I'm way more conscious.
Yeah, I like this, guys, because us dentists, we live kind of a chaotic lifestyle, and sometimes we just don't make good choices on what food we are having, even during lunchtime as well. This is an important reminder to us. Angus, thank you so much for all of us, right? Great.
So it's over to me.
Over to you.
That's good. So this one you have had a chance to think about, but I wanted to, there's an expression that says success leaves clues.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious to look at successful people and say, well, what is it that they do and have done that has led them to where they are? In 3 minutes or less, what do you attribute to your success?
All right.
Come on, you've had some warning. Don't pretend you're making this up.
Yeah. No. I just like to think about this is something which I believe what I should start with is the definition of success. I believe that everyone, first of all, needs to define their own success. What is success to them? And success is not just about financial. Success is a bigger picture than that, right? So for me, success is 3 parts, right? The 3 parts of success is living your purpose, maximizing your potential, and sowing seeds for others in life, right? Now, I believe that back in the day, I came across one of my mentors who told me that there are 4 stages in life. There are 4 reasons or 4 whys of why would you live your life. The first being the survival stage, where you're just working away to pay your bills and etc. Then comes the status stage, where you are more worried about keeping up with the Joneses, sending your children to the private schools, worried about buying cars, going on holidays, so status stage. And then we call the soaring stage, right? Where you have you're riding with flying with the eagles, where you have the freedom of choice, right? And then the ultimate is the serving stage, where you actually go mad, which is making a difference. So I never knew what success was. So I was living a life completely haywire, not planned, not knowing what I want to do. Till not the day I defined success, that I really where I want to go, and I wanted to reach a stage where I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. So when you ask me what do I attribute my success to? And I would say one word, which is the ability to adapt. Simple as that. One of the things I've learned, yes, we need a great attitude, we need a great belief system in our lives, we need commitment in what we do, we want to make the right discipline, the right choices, we want to do it with the right energy, with the right focus, with the right grit. But all that said, the ability to adapt, the ability to change your behavior where it's needed to be changed, the ability to even learn from your failures, right? Because my failures probably are my greatest attribute to my success. That's when I learned that what can I learn from my failures? Before I used to, dwindle down into this emotional spiral, right? And then I learned, no, we're all going to have failures in our life. And nowadays I tell, even when I'm coaching, I tell people, like, you're going to have failures, right? And the people who will succeed in life are the people who will learn to adapt, the people who will learn from the mistakes and I'll ask the questions, what am I learning here? So I guess my attribute to success is just the ability and the intelligence to just tell myself, Kinnar, adapt. Kinnar, adapt. So we should all adapt, and that's my philosophy, right?
Completely agree.
Good. All right, next question for you, Mr. Angus. Let's have a look. And I'm curious to know about this one, right? All right. There's a saying, right, which says, people don't take trips, trips take people.
Okay.
Right? And what I mean by that is that we are sometimes defined by the trips that we have taken in life. So the question I have for you, Angus, for the next question, right, is what inspired you to choose the path you took?
It's in some ways it's a better question than the answer, because I think. In a textbook situation, you'd say, well, I deeply thought about this and I considered all my options and I came up with this. Whereas, of course, it's way more organic than that. It happens sort of iteration by iteration. Look, the truth is that part of my personal characteristics is I'm driven by achievement.
Right.
That's one of my strengths. I love doing stuff just because it's there. Yeah. Like I ran my first marathon 2 years ago at age 50, purely because I'm like, I wonder if I can do this. Yes. The year before, having been terrible at gymnastics as a kid, I learnt to do a handstand at age 49. So achievement drives me. Okay. And how do I find myself in the dental industry? And I assume that's part of the question, because it's a question I get asked a lot. Yeah. I'm not a dentist. I have a family littered with healthcare professionals. Right. It's all vets and doctors in my family. Brother's a vet, father's a vet, grandfather's a doctor, cousins are doctors, uncles are doctors, but there's not a single dentist among us.
Right.
And I actually think the example that you gave in the previous question is quite apt here, which is that part of my achievement is I lived in Canberra, I wanted to work in government, tick. Then I wanted to get posted overseas with government, tick. Then I wanted to work in private industry and transition. A lot of people in government never did that. Tick. Then I became a sales manager. My team, our budget was $25 million a year. Tick. And then I was like, I've never really done business before. So there was an achievement thing. But here's the part that your other model mentioned, which is that as I'm getting older, I'm starting to think about legacy as well. Not just what can this joker achieve, but what can I help others do? And one of the many books that I've read, and I honestly can't remember which one it is, spoke about figuring out why you're on the planet.
Right.
And it's
Who's that by?
I can't remember.
Right.
I've actually read a book a week for the last 2 or 3 years, so I don't remember which one it was. And I figured out that for me, I'm on this planet to grow people and grow business. That's what I'm here for. I mean, I want to be a good husband and father and grandfather and so on. But and so this getting into dentistry was a combination of, it's another achievement for me. I hadn't run my own business before. I've got a very strong background with healthcare professionals, both in my family and in my work background. And then thirdly, how can I help people grow themselves and grow business? And like, I would do what I do for free. I love it. I mean, the idea of sitting down with clients and helping them grow as people and grow as business, and I know this is something that drives you as well. I really love it. So it's almost like dentistry chose me, but here I am.
Yeah. So that's a quite a bit you've gone through in your path of inspiration.
a
Fantastic.
lot, a lot.
For those who don't know, Angus here, Angus and I have known each other for quite a few years now, right? And there's a great synergy between them. I always enjoy having conversations with Angus, and I'm honored to have him as part of my proximity, because whenever we meet, we may have some fun conversations 20% of the time, but 80% of the times we're always having conversations regarding growth, regarding well-being, regarding how we can help each other. And that's something Dentapreneurs do, right? We build proximities who can help that. Angus, and for those who don't know Angus has written this book called The Dental Practice Profit System. If you haven't read that, it's an amazing book. Angus, what's your, anguspryor.com?
Yep.
anguspryor.com, and you can request a book from
Yeah, there's
the
a
website.
book there, or just get it off Amazon.
Get it off Amazon, get a book, but read it, because Angus...
And released this year on Audible, audiobook as well.
Right, for those who love
for the
driving around
the
listening.
non-readers.
Yeah, for the non-readers, right? And a lot of us do that.
While you're running, you know.
Yeah, or while you're driving.
Whatever.
Yeah, and definitely one of the great things I know about Angus that he's out there to help, and I've seen that, you know, and I don't say that about everyone, right? Because I can know from people who give from the heart, and you are one of them, Angus, and I'm really proud to say that.
Thank you.
And I would say that Angus specializes in helping people attract new patients, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Right, that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
To which you know, at the end of the funnel, it gives you the ability to serve more patients and grow financially. And which is a win-win for everyone, right?
Yep.
So if you want to reach out to Angus and discuss marketing strategies, feel free to do so, even just for a chat, right? Angus, you're open for a chat?
Yeah. I think the feedback we often get in my organisation is they say, oh gosh, you're not like normal salespeople, you know, we just feel like it's a conversation. I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah.
And so if we end up speaking for 45 minutes about their business, it's partly because I want to know.
Well, there you go, guys. So reach out. You know, this is an opportunity where we not only record and add value to you guys, but it's kind of, you know, inspire you to take some action by just reaching out. Taking the first step matters in anything you do in life, right? That's it, taking first step.
All right.
All right, man, my question.
Back to me. Now, you and I have done at least one event. We've done many events together, but we've done one event where the theme was around going from good to great.
Oh, yeah.
We've done at least one, maybe a couple. And my question is, there are many people who are watching this who I would say probably have a good business. I mean, there'd be some of them who'd have a rubbish business and they're in desperation stakes, but what would you be saying to the audience to go from good to great in their business? What do they need to do?
Yeah. I usually ask this question in the beginning of my seminars. What do you think is the number one thing that stops most people achieving their dreams? Now, when I ask this question in the seminars, most people say it's lack of fear, lack of money, lack of time, lack of resources, frustration, yourself. Now, all these answers are right, but that's not the number one. Because I believe that the number one thing that stops most people from achieving their dreams is settling for good.
Yep.
Settling for good.
Good is the enemy of great.
And good is the enemy of great. They settle for a good job, you know, a good team, good leadership, good business skills, good communication skills, good marketing skills. Everything's good. And like you said, good is the enemy of the great. So when we have the opportunity, right, we all have resources nowadays. We have the internet, we have proximity. When we have this opportunity to become great, why are we settling for good? Why? Right? And I'm very passionate about drilling this into dentists. Like, you have the choice. There's so many people in this world, they don't have that choice. You have it. Why are you settling for good, you know, when you can aim for great? So the advice I would give to dentists who want to go from good to great is become great at what you do. right? Invest in yourself. Invest in your team. How would you invest in yourself? Invest in learning business skills. We have not been taught that in universities. Invest in learning leadership skills. We've not been taught that in universities. Invest in communication skills. The number one skill you require to become successful is communication skills, the ability to inspire, influence, and impact people. So invest in that. Invest in your teams, right? How many times have we heard that, what if happens if I invest in my team and they leave? I said, what if you don't invest in your team and they stay? Right? So invest. And nowadays, we, as dentists, as dental practice owners, you don't have an excuse not to invest in yourselves, right? It's the time to become great. Don't settle for good. So the final advice, and in one word, is invest in you, invest in your potential, unleash your potential, invest in your team, invest in your business. That's my advice to dentists.
That is a great answer, and that's advice for everybody, really.
Everybody, including me, including you.
100%. And
right?
I would say, the other part about that is that you get to define great.
Yeah.
You get to say what great is for you. For some people it is more around career. For some people it's more around family, whatever. Yeah. In fact, why have it as or? What's wrong with and? Why not be great here and be great there and be great there?
Yes. And I want to add one point to that, Angus, as we speak about this subject, right? A lot of people get carried away aiming for perfection, right? And I may want to say this, that try to aim for excellence, not necessarily perfection, right? And would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, we have one of our company slogans internally is progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I hope you're enjoying so far. So we are at the mid-session right now, so we're going to take a short break and we will be with you shortly. I hope some of you are taking notes, because the people who do take notes remind themselves constantly on the necessary actions and decisions and choices they need to make. So do please take a pen and a paper, or even on your phone, just like a few points something that inspires you, something that makes you feel, you know what, this is it. This is today. I'm going to make it either day one or one day. It's your choice. We'll be back shortly. All right, guys, welcome back to the Dentapreneurs TV show. Once again, we have the famous Angus Pryor here today.
Happy to be famous.
I hope you guys are enjoying so far. We got our morning coffees. I hope you guys are having the morning coffee too.
It's a very nice one.
And we're going to get straight back into it. Right, Angus, you ready?
I am. Let's do this.
Okay. Your fourth question.
Okay.
Which is, what pleasure gives you purpose?
I'm glad you gave me a teeny bit of warning on this one, because it could go so many different ways. Look, there are two things that stick in my mind, and this is one of our not really prepared questions.
Yeah.
So this is my two immediate reactions. The first is being a grandfather, and I would say spending time with my 2-year-old granddaughter is about as enjoyable as anything I do. And look, I mean, I've been married to the same woman for 30 years. I love her, I love my kids and so on, but looking at the world through the eyes of a 2-year-old is I just love it. And so that just gives me purpose to kind of go, I actually really love my work, and I've been really blessed with that, but it also means I've got to maintain that balance, because I don't want my granddaughter coming around. She's coming around tomorrow. I don't want her coming around and going, can't talk to you, honey, I'm too busy doing something else. So that would be the first purpose. The other part is, for me, I think, people use this term superpower, and I would say for me that's around messaging.
Yeah.
And when I talk to businesses, it's like my little antennas kind of pricked up going, what is the unique message? Like I love doing that. I mean, I literally do that, back when we were flying, I would sit next to people on a plane, we'd start chatting, I'd get out my phone and start taking notes and say, I think this is the message you need. This is your unique message. And I guess the purpose underlying that means that I can help people have a business, I know you know him, and some of the viewers will know him, a guy called Mike McAllowitz from Profit First fame, and he says different is better. And for me, that pleasure, which is I love looking for that message, what makes you unique. And can I say to the camera here, this guy would be very easy to do this with. There's a lot of things about you that are unique, which as a marketer would be great, the messaging and getting that to come out. But that has an obvious purpose too,
Yeah.
because Joe consumer thinks most dentists are just the same as each other.
Yes.
And so my job is to say, no, this practice is different and we're better. And so that's something I love doing. I would do it for free.
Yeah.
And there's a great purpose behind that, because if we can position a practice as being genuinely unique,
Yeah.
it helps a heck of a lot with their business. They don't just become another Me Too practice and then
Yeah.
you go, oh, well, who does the cheapest crowns? That is, we don't ever want to enter that debate. So that would be one as a grandfather, with apologies to my wife and kids,
Yeah.
and one in sort of messaging and really standing out for practices.
Yeah, great, great. That applies to everyone, every one of us, right? We need to define our pleasures in life, which gives us purpose, because otherwise we cannot live with passion, I say, right? So Angus, thank you so much for sharing those nuggets, and I'm sure your wife is going to have a word with you after this.
She's fine. I think she feels the same way.
Right, go for it, my turn.
Okay, so let's imagine, Kinnar, because I think the one thing that people really enjoy about you, and I'll speak about me rather than people, is the energy that you bring, the enthusiasm. I feel kind of always uplifted from dealing with you. And so some of the people watching this are going, well, I'd like a bit of that in my practice. So here's my question. If I engage you, take me through the first 3 steps that we would do together for you to help me in my business.
If you engage me.
Yeah. I like your energy, I like your passion,
Yeah.
I want some of that in my practice, I want to help my practice grow a bit.
Yeah.
What are the first 3 things practically we're going to do together?
Okay. If you engage me, that usually indicates that either you've seen me speak, like you say, or you've seen the energy I come across with, and you're curious to know what can Kinnar do for me, or how can Kinnar help me, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I would do is sit down with you and really ask you, are you sure you need any help?
Okay.
Right?
I should try that.
Yeah, because to be honest, people get inspired attending a Tony Robbins seminar. People get inspired and pumped and motivated coming to my seminars or listening to this episode or whatever it is. But deep down, they really don't want any help. They just get that bit of excitement. So the first thing I really come out, okay, now we're on the table.
Yeah.
Let's put the enthusiasm and the energy on the side for a time being.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is it that you want? Where do you want to go? And most importantly, why? Because when I ask most dentists, the typical answers, as Angus, you may get this as well, is that, listen, I want to maximize my practice. I've got this chair which is busy, but the other chair is not busy. My team, I'm not sure whether I'm the right fit for the team or my team is the right fit for me. I'm not sure about my marketing, new patients, I don't know, all this kind of stuff. All of them come out with the same struggles generally, right? So most people lead into criticizing and complaining, the cycle of criticizing and complaining. Yet, when I really ask them, are you ready to take the necessary actions and steps to grow, to evolve, to maximize yourself? They hesitate for a moment. And that hesitation tells me that they may not be ready yet.
Yeah.
Right? So the first thing I do is sit down with them, ask them, are you ready?
Are you in the race?
Are you sure you want to go them?
Are you on the start line ready to go?
Correct, because it's an exciting journey. Right? I love doing this. You will love doing this. I've built this practice. So the reason I've done this is because it has given me freedom of choice. It's given me the ability to go pursue my other passions. I know you want to do that too. And that's your why. So we got to sit down. And that's the first thing I sit down and evaluate, that you know what you want, where you want to go, and why you want to go. The second and third basically things, and then is we sit down and we break it down into the 10 things that is required to boom their personal, or more likely their professional life or their professional practice. There are 10 really areas which I speak to in my book. These 10 areas
are a very good book, by the way.
Yeah,
I read it in about 2 days. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And you probably hear me speaking through that book just the way I speak right now, which is the 10 areas where you need to work on. And then we just break it down. So I do what we call, when people ask me, Kinnar, what do you do and what can you do for them? I say I do 3 things. I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, and I'm a conductor. So I will come and first consult with you, then I will coach you through the process of exponentially growing your practice, and then I will help you conduct and how to get there. So I hope that answers what you asked me, Angus.
Absolutely, good answer.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode so far. May I please ask you guys to like and share this episode with your friends, with your colleagues, because I have a philosophy called each one teach one, and sometimes by teaching one, you just share some valuable information you have learned so that other people can learn it, right? So, and just we will be thoroughly grateful for that, right, Angus?
Absolutely.
All right. So, Angus, next question for you.
Yep.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Now, life. We're all leading a life, right?
Yep.
I believe life is divided into 3 terms: that which was, that which is, that which will be, right? And those who cannot remember which was, which is likely the past, are condemned to repeat it, right? So my question to you is this: if you could give your younger self advice, because we all do, right?
Yeah,
we always think, what if I could change something?
Yeah.
So if you could give your younger self advice, one advice,
Yeah.
and I want you to elaborate a bit, what would that be?
Yeah, I'm glad you gave me some warning on this one, because this could go so many ways. This is a tough question. At one level, when you reflect on that question, you're basically looking back on your life and saying, would you change anything?
Yeah.
And the truth is, in many ways, I wouldn't. I mean, I spoke earlier about, because I am driven by achievement and I've ticked so many boxes. I mean, I've lived all over the world. My kids started school in other countries, barely weren't born in another country. And so at that level, I wouldn't change a thing. From a business point of view, I wish I'd started in my 20s. I wish the business that I was in now was my 4th or 5th business, because I'd have learnt some stuff, stopped making those same mistakes. But if you wanted a sort of a philosophy, I actually think you hit it earlier when you spoke about being adaptable.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the one habit that I stopped, which was this kind of what I call unconscious eating, and what I realised only in the last month or 2 was that I've been doing the same kind of eating habits and patterns for the last 3 or 4 years, and they haven't been working.
Right.
It's like Einstein, who says if you do the same thing each time and expect different results, that's insanity.
Yeah.
And yet that's exactly what was happening. I wasn't adapting.
Yeah.
And fortunately, those 2 great sages, my 2 children, my son and daughter, said to me, Dad, you need to start tracking what you eat. You get with the technology. I've got my mobile phone down there. Use an app. Start tracking that, and that's caused me to lose about 5 kilos in the last 2 months. So I would say, what I would be saying to 20-year-old Angus is, look, Ty Lopez says, become a learning machine. And it's like that adaptability. It's going, that's the one thing that actually sets humans apart from other species, is our ability to adapt. I mean, in the scheme of things, my assumption is, and by the way, my granddaughter loves elephants, so she'll be very happy with this. I imagine that elephants now largely live a life that they did thousands of years ago, whereas the human life has adapted enormously. And so for me, 20-year-old Angus, I'd say, be a learning machine and adapt, because you don't want to do what I did, which is 3 or 4 years going, I suppose this is the way I should be eating, and that, hey, it's not actually working. That would be the advice I'd give my younger self.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
There you go, guys. Be a learning machine and adapt. I love that, Angus.
All right. Now this one is, because, this sort of business discussion, it's a lot about personal, of course. As I have a view that, in a way, the business can only grow as much as you do. So I want you to speak to the person who's watching this, not so much the business owner, for them to head down their path of success more, and we've spoken a bit about success. I don't know whether you can say this for everyone, or maybe you have to say this is the most common examples of one thing they should start doing and one thing they should stop doing. Now,
okay.
Maybe this is an answer for everyone, or maybe you say, look, for the many people I've consulted, this is most commonly the best thing to start and the best thing to stop.
Okay. what got you here won't get you there.
Ain't that the truth?
It's the first philosophy in life, right? So whatever actions, thoughts, and habits and practices you've been doing so far has got you wherever you are in your life. That may be at a average state or a good state. I mean, but to go to a great and exceptional states in life and stages in life, you need to adapt, you need to develop and practice new philosophies and new practices in life. So I believe, and this is not just my belief, it's pretty much coming from every textbook, including all the religious scriptures in the world, which says that everything to do with success, or majority of things to do with success, is mindset. 80% of anyone's success in this world is mindset. The remaining 20% is motivation and method. It's something I learned from Jim Quick, right? So 80% is mindset, 20% is motivation and the methods being the strategies you need to do, right? So the first thing I want everyone to do, or I would start doing, encouraging, is just accepting deeply that fact that whatever I'm doing and wherever in my life, can I just take a break and just analyze it for a while? How much of this thing I'm doing, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's attracting more new patients, or whether it's building my team, whatever I'm doing, how much of this is mindset, how much of this is my motivation and my methods? Because I can teach you how to inspire your team. It's a method. I can teach you a method. But if your mindset is not there, it will be very short-lived. Does that make sense?
Yes, so that's start doing.
So that's the start doing,
What
yes.
about stop doing?
Stop doing. Right. Just day before yesterday, I was driving to the Upper North Shore. And in my car, as you know, like we've turned over cars into universities, I was listening to, what's the name, Mel Robinson or someone?
Mel
Robbins, right? And she spoke about the 5-second rule.
Okay.
Right? So what should people stop doing? Stop procrastinating.
Right.
Everything you do in life, right? Everything you do, everything I do, everything everyone does, right? At the end of the day, it gets dictated about the actions and the decisions we make. But that actions and decisions needs momentum. And Mel Robbins said that it only takes 5 seconds to get into momentum. So everyone should stop procrastinating on the weight they want to lose, on the right foods they want to eat, on the right number of patients they want to build, on the right way to lead their teams. Stop procrastinating. Just take the next step. One step, and it takes 5 seconds to take that one step. So stop procrastinating, take the first step.
That's good. I like that. And does that include a countdown? Because I've heard people say, I know I need to take the next step.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, just do it.
That's it. Once again, yesterday, Mia and I were here till late in the evening, and I told Mia that I'm just going to go for a walk. And then she left, and I didn't want to feel like going for a walk, right? So the first step I did was just put my shoes on.
Yeah.
Right, and my brother was sitting there. I said, "Let me just put because I need to remind myself as well, because I also fall into the trap of procrastinating, right? So I need to remind myself, hey, Kinnar, what the hell? 5 seconds, put the shoes on.
Yeah.
Once I put the shoes on, I went into momentum. Then I just say, you know what? I'm going to go outside for 10 minutes, take a walk. It ended up being a 15-minute walk, and I ended up listening to 3 episodes of TED Talks. Right?
Oh, there you go.
Learning machine, like you said,
Excellent.
learning machine.
Excellent.
Right, thank you, Angus. My turn.
Yep.
So this is the final question for you today, Angus.
And this one, this is totally unrehearsed. I don't know what this is going to be.
Right, so, all of us have this charge in life, right? Either it's an internal charge or an external charge. Let's call it either motivation, inspiration, whatever it is. But the question I have for you is along these lines, which is, who was your biggest inspiration for business success?
Look, I guess that's this is evidence that I've done no preparation at all. I don't really know. The truth is, I don't actually have business role models in my family. I mean, my father was an academic and a vet. My mum was a teacher. Nobody in my family's been in business. For me, it was partly that achievement thing. Hey, here's another box I can tick. Let's do that. So I don't really know where it came from. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in high school, I'm the youngest of 5 boys.
Yes.
And so you know what brothers are like, they tell each other what to do.
Yes.
And so I wanted to do a business course when I was in high school, and my brother, who's now a vet, criticised me for wanting to do a business course and said, "Oh, what are you doing that for? You should do some science." And the truth is I wasn't that good at science, so I had a little hint there, and that got squashed down for like 30 years. So it's very hard for me to say one person, but if you ask me the person that I've followed the most and has probably influenced me the most, it would be an American guy called Tai Lopez. And I've met him, I won a charity auction and had dinner with him, and he's a different thinker, you know, like from a messaging point of view, the first time you see him, you're going, who is this guy? But he's got a very different thinking. And one of the things that he's got me doing, his very famous video, it's called Here in My Garage. It's got 69 million views on YouTube. And it starts with him in his garage with a bunch of Lamborghinis. And then he switches the camera around and he's got bookshelves behind him. And he's encouraged me, and he encourages everyone to read more. And I've read a book a week for the last 2 years solid, and I was reading perhaps 1 or twice a month before that. And the point that he makes, which I think is so true, I mean, in your book, you know, like it would take me, I'm guessing, 2 or 3 hours to read. In 2 or 3 hours, I've learnt what 10 years of your experience has packed into there. I mean, I can't think of a better head start. 10 years worth in 2 or 3 hours. And so every book that I read, I'm reading with a purpose. I read lots of biographies just for pure inspiration. I'll read some sort of business books for you know, kind of tactical stuff, and just, you know, all sorts of stuff. But for me, I would say that it's I'm trying to think who it was who said this. Isaac Newton, I think, said, "We stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before us." And so for me in business, I'm trying to be this learning machine. I'm, you know, reading as much as I can. I listen to a heck of a lot of podcasts. But, you know, if I had to choose one person, Tai Lopez is the person that I follow the most.
I love it, and I've watched quite a few of his videos. He's a go-getter.
He is.
He's someone who sets goals and achieves them. And I love what you said about the biggest lesson you took away from me, which is read, because leaders are readers. The more you read, the more you learn, the more you earn. Angus, and I think and just knowing the fact that you're reading a book per week immediately tells me that you're on the path of success. Right? Because like you say, we borrow from other people's experience. There are 2 kinds of experiences, our own experience and borrowed experience. And like you said, just 2-3 hours of reading my book is about 10 years worth of my struggles, my failures, and what you should avoid doing, right? Same with your book, what you should avoid doing, and then what you should start doing to get a quicker result, right?
Well, the definition of an expert that I like says, an expert is a person who's made every possible mistake in a particular field. And so what's there is what to do, but what's not there is what you've tried and didn't work. And I'm exactly the same in this book.
Correct, which is exactly, once again, when you asked me previously in the morning session that what do you attribute your success to, it's my failures actually. I attribute my success to my failures. This is where I've learned, and it's here in the book, it's in your book as well. Great, Angus, love that answer from you.
Thank you.
Final question
Final
for me
question.
now.
I had to look at my notes and remind me. Now, look, this is, I mean, I'm curious about every question I've asked you. I know I'm meant to be doing it for the audience, but I'm curious myself. The question is, when success for many dentists is, because I ask them this question all the time. I'm speaking to dentists all the time, so are you. And many times they're saying, well, I want to grow my business more, and basically it's bigger business, work less. If I were to summarize dozens of conversations I've had. And yet the thing that I find curious is that in terms of being learning machines, most dentists, where do they do most of their learning, Kinnar? And we know the answer to that because it's clinical. And I've got no problem with them becoming a better dentist, but the challenge I have is that for their clients, they don't know. Is Kinnar a better technical dentist than the guy down the street? They got no way of knowing. So that's a long preamble to this question. The simple question is, why do you think it is that dentists, that they're spending all this time educating themselves on clinical, when in a sense, for them to get what they want and that success is not clinical at all. It's all these other things we've been talking about. Why do you think that is, and I suppose how can they bridge that gap?
Learning clinical skills is super important for every dentist out there. It's a must. Yet it will only make you good.
Yeah.
If you want to become great at what you do, you have to learn non-clinical skills. Because especially if you're a practice owner, especially because running a practice requires being a leader, the ability to negotiate, the ability to manage your teams, the ability to delegate duties, the ability to inspire people that they're working for a bigger cause, the ability to attract new leads, attract new patients, the ability to communicate to their patients so that you get chosen. Now, I've been through a stage in my life where that I had invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in clinical skills, right? And at that point in time, that was about 5 years of my initial being a dentist. Like I went crazy because I was pretty much of a dumbass in university, right? I was at the bottom 20%, and when I came in here, it's almost like I was given another opportunity to become, to learn the skills, because most dentists, we all know that, right? The dentistry we learn in universities, it's only this much. We really have to invest in clinical skills. So it's a must to learn clinical skills. Yet, it never made me progress fast. It never made me progress so much more. And what I learned, and the epiphany moment, was that I had to go out and learn communication skills, business skills, leadership skills, entrepreneurship skills. I mean, we are all in a group called Dentapreneurs here, which is we are wearing two hats, dentists and entrepreneurs, right? So I would say that clinical skills, once again, will make you good, but if you want to be great, then you got to invest in yourself learning all these other skills, especially business, leadership, and communication skills. And the business skills includes the marketing and the management of the whole business, leadership so that you can run a whole nice team who can evolve with you as you grow. And communication is everything. Bottom line, it is everything, right? So that answers the first part of your question, right? Am I right?
Yep.
And the second part was?
Well, I guess the second part is how to, what advice can you give people to help them to bridge that gap? Because I noticed it, like during COVID, you'd have these webinars and so on, and if it was clinical, there'd be 300 people would turn up, and if it was non-clinical, 50 people would turn up. And I mean, some dentists, like God bless them, if they just want to be a great dentist, that's fine. But as a business owner, I would say there's a disconnect with wanting to be a business owner and having great success, but not learning those skills in between.
So the answer to that is, how do you bridge that gap? Like, what's the moment of realization is, get frustrated. Simple as that. Like, I know that you're frustrated because I was frustrated. Like, I'm in the same boat as dentists. I still operate 6 to 8 days a month as a dentist, right? And I am in the same frustration that back in the day when I didn't see myself growing and progressing, I sat down with a coffee and I told myself, what is it? Why is it? I've got great clinical skills. I've learned all the procedures, the implants, the veneers, the crowns, the clear aligners, but I'm still not progressing financially. I'm still not growing as a business. Why? And the reason was nothing to do with clinical skills. No. Like, how many times, they also teach digital implant placements to some dentists. And when I do that, and I ask them at the end of the year, so how many implants did you place? I mean, you've done other education to do with implants. And they usually give me answer, 3 or 5. And the reason they do that is not that they don't have the skill. It's not that they lack the business, the marketing skills, the leadership, the communication skills, or even the skills to case convert. Like, a patient comes to you, and if you don't have the right communications, you might have the right clinical skills. So get frustrated. Because sometimes in frustration and realizing our frustration, we come up with ideas and realizations, what we need to and how we need to change, right? So there's nothing else I can say about that but get frustrated.
Good answer. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's a good answer.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Angus. Right, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Angus, like, I really wanted to thank you from the bottom of our heart. Today you came here, sat down with me. I know that we've spoken and met quite a few times, and we still keep meeting. Like, I think once every fortnight, at least once a month we meet and we strategize, we talk different things. But today was the first time that I'm humbled that you gave me an opportunity to interview you and kind of take something from your mind, give it to our viewers here. You know, I learned something new from you as well. One of the best things I'm going to take away is, and I keep on telling you, I've told you this before, is health, right? For me, I'm working on my health at the moment, but for you, you may be working in a different area of your life, right? What I want you to take away, of all you guys, as you're listening this, is, you know, the concept of work-life balance. Get it out of your mind, because it's like walking on a tight rope. You will never have a work-life balance, but at least just know that there are, you know, around 6 areas or 12 areas in your life you need to plan yourself. You know, I was listening to Jim Rohn. I was driving today morning, and he said something along the lines of, when is the best time to build a house? And the answer to that was when you've finished it. So I never understood that, right? Then he said, when is the best time to start a day? And the answer to that is when you've finished it. What that meant basically is that finish your own day here.
Right.
Finish your house in here, because once you plan, once you implant the thoughts, that's because everything starts with thoughts. Everything starts with you planning, marketing. Angus, reach out to him. You know, leadership skills, business skills, communication. There's so many people in our industry who help us this. Reach out to them, right? Learn these skills. Move out of the comfort zone, because in the comfort zone you're good. Outside the comfort zone you're great.
Yeah.
Right? So once again, Angus.
Thanks, Kinnar. It was good fun.
Thank you. Thank you for being this. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit of a different kind of episode. We wanted to make it a bit spicy. And I hope, once again, that you took some notes, and each one teach one. So may I please ask you to like and share. May I also please request that you, in the comments, maybe ask a question or two. Whatever it is, Angus and I will be happy to answer this. Anything, any part of these questions you want to kind of us to answer a bit more. Are you okay with that, Angus? Fantastic.
Absolutely.
I know you would not say no to that, Angus. Right? So, guys, once again, have an awesome day and stay charged. We will be back with a new episode, and we'll always keep you surprised. Take care, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Good one.